Welcome to Wright County Board of Commissioners, October 30th. I call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everybody. County Board minutes from October 23rd.
Did you have a change there,
Mr. Chair, I have a correction. Page 13 of 14, last paragraph. It says, in smaller cities, Kim Zapoy, Central Minnesota Jobs and Training, it's actually Tim. So that's the only thing with that. Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Vetch. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Agenda, do we have anything that we need to add?
Commissioners, if you don't mind, I'd just like to make an announcement about absentee voting.
Okay.
It is starting today, the in-person, but I'll make an announcement. So,
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Potter. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they would like removed for further discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Burrell. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
9:02, right on the money.
9:02. Man, we can't get any better than that.
I don't know if Virgil's going to make it up to the podium by 9:02, you know.
Yep, he made it. He's clear.
Oh, good morning. Today I have one item for consideration, and that is to set a Transportation Committee meeting of the whole. We have several items transportation related that we need to go over. I should point out November 12th is not a consideration. I had put on the list for a possible meeting date, but that's a holiday, so we won't meet on November 12th. But some of the other suggested meeting dates were Monday, November 5th, Tuesday, November 6th, Wednesday, November 7th, or Tuesday, November 13th.
Mr. Chair, November 13th works best for me, but
13th is fine with me.
Which one?
So you had so much fun with us last night, Virgil, that you want to actually hang out again with us?
Yeah, it was such a great time. We need to have more of these.
You said?
November 13th, what time of day? You thinking like
1:30? 1:30, would that
No,
work?
what, do we have HHS that day, don't we?
No, it's a Tuesday. 13th is a Tuesday.
13th is a Tuesday, so he's talking 15th of Thursday, okay.
No, the
It's just
13th.
13th, Tuesday the 13th.
Okay. And that's November then.
And you want to do
Yep.
1 or 1:30?
1 or 1:30, whatever works best.
Well, are we going to have HHS that day?
Why would we?
that-
Oh,
are we
because
closed
Veterans Day
Are we
on.
closed on Veterans Day, the
Yeah.
12th?
Yep.
So
Correct.
we'll,
So we have HHS on the 13th,
13th.
along with extension at 4 o'clock on the 13th.
so that would be kind of full. We do
We could do
have
it
to
after,
11.
we could do it after the board meeting.
it at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Or just say 10:30.
That work?
Otherwise it runs late.
See, it seemed like the morning was a problem.
10:30 gives us an hour and a half or 2 hours almost if
And
we
then we
need it.
have lunch before 1 o'clock.
Sure, okay. 10:30?
You're going to do 13th?
Yep. At the Highway Building?
Okay,
Sure.
Mr. Chair,
But
I'll
the
make,
question that I have with this now is if that board meeting could potentially be long, and if you end up going till, 11 o'clock on your board meeting, you take 15 minutes in between, now you're going to be shorting yourself any time at all for that committee of the whole. I just wanted to put that out there.
you think 11 o'clock would be a better time?
Well, I'm just saying that then you're only giving yourself an hour and a half for that entire committee of the whole, and I don't know how much Virgil has on it. That's the reason I just wanted to have that discussion.
Well, in the board packet, it should have, there's 4 items and that we have right now to talk about. I would guess we would need probably a good hour and a half.
Yeah.
We should be able to do it. Just, let's plan on 10:30 though, and if it goes to 11, that would be worse.
That's fine,
Yeah.
okay. I just wanted to pose that out there, just so if we're,
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to set the Transportation Committee of the Whole for November 13th at 10:30 a.m. at the Highway Building.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Hewsom, second by Commissioner Burrell. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Award-winning Mr. Bob Hevela.
Hey, good morning, Board. Hey, I just want to make an announcement that today is the first day that we are opening the in-person absentee voting. 7 days prior to the election, we can allow for this option. If anybody wants to come to the courthouse and vote absentee, you're still an absentee voter, but you're voting in person. You'll actually be given your ballot, and you can mark it and slide it into the tabulator. That should speed up our process. 2 years ago, we had lines down to the first floor. We think we're going to circumvent that this year. I also want to make that announcement that our polling place here will be open Saturday from 10 till 3. So you can come anytime during work hours, 8 to 4:30, but on Saturday, from 10 to 3, you can come down to the courthouse and vote absentee.
Will you be open a little later on Thursday night along with the DMV?
We didn't talk about that, but I suppose that's something we could do.
I was just curious. I know the DMV is open till
6.
6.
Right.
And as busy as it's been, but something to think about, another hour and a half.
The only qualifier I'll have is we do have 5 cities that are doing their own absentee. You can still come down here, but then we're going to treat you with an envelope because we need to get that ballot to that precinct for counting. So
That adds a step.
I know Albertville is doing it.
Albertville, St. Michael, Monticello, Hanover, and Delano.
Good, thank you. Anybody else have any
Nope.
comments? Okay, great, thank you. We are down for committee minutes. Commissioner Hewsom.
Personnel first.
Owners.
Yep.
Owners.
Oh, owners, I'm sorry, I didn't see that one. Commissioner Potter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, the Justice Center Owners Committee met October 17th, and there's a list of who was all present there. It was our construction staff out there along with Judge McPherson and Monica Trumper and Coordinator Kelly. The updates were discussed. We opened up with the schedule and activities. The decking and stud work would continue next week. The decking is probably on the 3rd floor at this point in time. Between the decking and the concrete, it takes a couple of weeks to get that done. And the next week will be when they pour the concrete on the 3rd floor. And we were looking at continuing working on the below-grade plumbing. It's getting closer all the time. Precast mobilization take place about December 3rd. Panels to be installed starting in December 5th. Anyone who wants to see the panel production at Wells Concrete, it's the plant in Albany, Minnesota, and they are open to giving you tours if you really want to see the panels actually being made, which is kind of nice. Schedule was noted that 15 to 16 days have been lost due to rain and weather. You know, that's pretty typical, but we're still on schedule because Kevin Curry is one of those, he's really anal about keeping the schedule going and keeping people moving, which is kind of nice because everybody's got their position there that's working it through. I did a big walkthrough with Pete Philippi last week, and I was thoroughly impressed with how far it's come along and what's going on in that building. Curry walked through the budget sheet and noted the change orders to date of $111,667, which represents, 0.3% of the contracted work. Contingency budget was a little over $2 million, and we're anticipating not even coming close to hitting that. And then we talked about because of our talk out here with the reception desk, is there a potential to install a reception desk in the lobby should it be needed? The more discussion was had on, okay, should we put more conduits in the concrete and have a couple different locations just in case they do have an information person out there, because as of today, there's nothing there. But when you come to the court security, that's probably not the place to have your information desk. But behind in that waiting area, there's a few locations that you could potentially have it. So the thought process is, let's put the conduit in now for potential locations, and then kind of see which one makes sense as we go along, if they should have that, just in case in the future. So it'll be looked at farther to come along, and Alan Wilczek knows to keep checking on that one. Curry spoke about the current AIS log, and it should be about $2,000, not 51 as noted on the agenda. Some lighting changes to the restrooms, and it's just miscellaneous things that happen here. In the thing there, we also talked about that storage room, and it's coming in a little higher than we had anticipated. We're trying to get that broken down, and we approved up to $65,000, and we haven't been able to get it under $75,000 right now. It's still good value for the money, but we're going to keep working on it, because I think there's some more credits to be had. But it's looking like it's going to be closer to $75,000, because things just weren't falling our way on this thing, because there are some things we'd have had to do anyway. It's still good bang for your buck.
No, absolutely. It is.
It's still good bang for your buck. I mean, we're hoping to get enough credits to get down to that 65, and it just wasn't happening. So Paulson also commented the electrical service is nearly complete from Highway 25, and the gas lines will be coming pretty quick here into that building, so that all those permanent ones will be there soon. Recommendations to move forward with the storage for $75,000 and continue working on more credits. We just didn't want the process to stop, because we authorized up to $65,000. If it goes over, we got to stop until it come back. So. And then also, the other change was the hardware from the doors went to a Sargent hardware. It's a higher quality, it's a little bit more expensive, but it's consistent with everything else we've been doing in the county. We've upgraded to just a few different levels of locks and door handles and that have you. And that one matches, and Wilczek was aware of that, and we wanted to make it consistent, because we've been trying to have some consistency across the board here. If this is the standard, this is the standard. It's in the courts in the jail right now. This is the standard. Why it was missed, we don't know, but it's it was there. And little specialty items, a salt conduit box, floor box, the reception desk location, like I talked before. And so that's all. The main thing is to move forward to storage room. It's $75,000. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and that recommendation.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Burrell. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Commissioner Hewson.
The Personnel Employees Relation Committee met on October 24th, 2018. Members present, Delyden, Hewson, Sean Johnson. Others present, Partlow, Odell, Hevela, Regine, Faith, West, Meyer, Nath, Enerud, Lee Kelly, and Lori Pollock. So the first request was for the Health and Human Services regarding long-term military leave. Human Services Business Manager Christine Partlow provided us with information about the employee that's currently out on military leave and has been on military leave since June 2018, and now is extended until to run into 2019. And HHS is currently utilizing the services of a temporary employee and requesting that the temporary employee to hire the temporary employee permanently, and the projected costs would be covered through their personnel attrition in other areas of the department. And Commissioner Delyden asked if the temp agency would be a cheaper option, and Partlow replied that it may or may not be. So it's better rate with an actual employee. However, if the temporary employee does not stay, we'd have to renegotiate with the agency for another employee. So we had a discussion, and for actually quite some time, and regarding the possibility of hiring an ISS position, and when our military leave employee returned, the new employee would be moved to an Office Tech 1 position. So there is a pay grade difference between OT1 and the ISS. Human Resources Director Sean Johnson added that it would technically be comparable to a layoff, and when our military leave employee returns from active duty, that employee would have bumping rights pursuant to the collective bargaining agreement. So the recommendation is to approve to hire a full-time information support specialist, ISS. The cost for this position will be offset by not filling an open position in the Health and Human Services Department. The second request was, our discussion was about the front reception desk position for License Bureau. And County Auditor Bob Hevela began the discussion reminding everyone of the topic had been brought forth to the County Board on October 16th of the immediate need for help in the License Bureau. And he noted that the implementation of Real ID and enhanced ID requirements have been extremely frustrating to the community and its staff. License Bureau Supervisor Becky Anerud mentioned that it's taking sometimes up to 45 minutes to process just one application for the newly enhanced ID. So everyone is frustrated and unhappy with the process. Both Commissioner DeLayden and I agree that, something needed to be done. And this issue is not only affecting our county, but also the city of Monticello recently hired 2 part-time employees and looking into hiring another staff just to keep up with the new mandates. Commissioner DeLayden recommended that staff relay this information to our local representatives when we meet with them in December. Hevela mentioned that initially the thought was for the front desk employee to move to a different position and to help the License Bureau when necessary, but there just isn't enough staff to cover the front desk during break times. Human Resources Director Sean Johnson suggested adding another FTE to the License Bureau. Commissioner DeLayden asked what the hourly rate would be for an OT1. And Assistant Human Resources Director Pollock replied, starting wage is $15.23 per hour, and the employee could be hired at a higher pay rate based on their work experience. So we had a discussion about what to do, and Assistant County Coordinator Sue Virgin presented a question regarding the responsibility of the front desk volunteers and how that would be coordinated. The committee members decided that Assistant County Coordinator Virgin would oversee the volunteers aspect of the front desk, and she indicated that she has received complaints regarding the phone service from the front desk and mentioned that some departments feel it is important to have a front desk position that manages incoming calls for the county. I replied that I also had gotten several complaints from residents about department not answering the phone. Actually, I actually said that, or we discussed that, but I think it came from other people. I didn't personally get complaints, but I've gotten complaints about not having enough staff in the License Bureau. And Virgin distributed a packet to the committee members of the county-wide phone tree. And some of the call trees are very complex and are frustrating for residents to navigate. Auditor Hevela suggested that these departments should also participate in providing coverage for the front desk. County Coordinator Lee Kelly commented that the greeter positions might be something we need to address in the new county buildings. The recommendation is to approve the hire of an Office Tech 1 for the License Bureau and to continue to move forward with the utilization of volunteers to assist with front desk coverage. And just a little typo on the word continue.
So,
But
Mr.
I
Chair.
don't specifically recall exactly what I said, but I had mentioned I received complaints about the lines at the License Bureau, so.
Commissioner Batch?
So I just wanted some clarification on both the areas. The first one, my clarification then is, so we're recommending to hire this position and we're just going to hope that there won't be too long of an overlap period of time?
No, that
Upon return?
they will not normally in the Health and Human Services, there's always an open position.
There, yeah.
But the open position won't necessarily be an
Right.
ISS.
Exactly.
So that's the
Yep.
question with it. So will this be paying, will this be, hopefully, they'll just be using funds that, we're giving them approval to use funds from unfilled positions to pay the difference between that.
Right, and they will have to keep one position open, even if it's from a different department within Health and Human Services.
Right.
So they
They're
have
not
to-
approving a new position.
Yep, they always have to leave one open until this situation rectifies itself,
Yep.
until,
Right.
basically until another ISS positions opens up for the one that you.
Or if this person wants to do
Change
something
the
else
house.
within the county, or the person that comes back wants to do something different,
Sure.
you know, so.
I just, it was a little messy. I was trying to clarify how that was going to play out.
It is a little confusing,
Yeah.
true. And also, the military leave has been extended to September of 2019. So,
so-
it's, I mean, September of 2019. So it's not just like January, February. We're looking at
Three quarters of the year,
extended.
maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then, another clarification then is we're approving an immediate hire for this DMV, or is this an amended budgetary item for 2019 for this DMV position?
We're,
I just,
we're immediately going to hire somebody.
Yep.
And there's enough money left over from unfunded positions this year. And then next year, because of the way the insurance came in,
man, we should be able to have enough to fund that position. So then it'll basically just get switched to a line item in the budget then, okay.
Yep.
Yep.
yeah, and if you recall, it was discussed at the district meeting with the county commissioners that we're not the only ones having this issue, that it's everywhere in the counties. And again, it's something we need to discuss regarding the issues with our representatives, because DMV pushed everything onto the counties to do it, but we're still only getting the $8 fee.
It was on the news last night also, and
Was it?
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon was talking.
Yeah.
He's a public
I-
person there. and-
Forwarded something yesterday, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to see that, regarding the Minnesota Minute claims that the rollout of the enhanced license has been so much smoother because they finally got their stuff together. But if I remember correctly, they didn't build it, it was built by somebody else. So I found that article very interesting.
Right, and if I can add to that, they talked about the software. They were silent on the amount of work they shifted to the counties. So the software can work, but what we have to go through to process an enhanced or real ID is the issue.
Yeah, no, it's taken anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. Becky, why don't you come up here?
In the meantime, one quick clarification. Will the current switchboard OT1 position remain in the auditor's office, or is it moving to administration?
It's going to remain in the auditor's office. for the
Okay,
time
I just,
being.
because that wasn't in the minutes, and I wanted to make sure that that was
Yeah.
clarified, that where it was staying in existence.
That's a good
Okay.
question.
So, Becky,
Yes, Commissioner.
it takes longer because there's additional information on the enhanced driver license. Now, people don't have to choose that if they don't want to, correct?
That's exactly right. The license that we have now, which we call the standard license, is actually fine for flight within the United States up until October 1st of 2020. After that point, if you want to board a domestic flight, you would need to have either a passport or an enhanced driver's license or a real ID. Many of our constituents have passports already, so most of them are saying, oh, I'm fine, it's okay. But those that are choosing to go into the enhanced or the real ID, they have to present documentation to prove citizenship and residency. And that's what's taking the length of time, is that there's a very lengthy list that we have to go through and check off with each applicant. And the licenses are taking an extremely long period of time to process. I'm not urging my staff to go faster and faster because we are dealing with the federal document. I want accuracy, total accuracy. But it does take longer. It takes quite a bit longer.
Now, in 2020, when you're no longer able to use their current driver's license to board a flight, at what point, or will you always be able to choose a standard license or the enhanced license, or everything will shift over to the enhanced license and you won't have a choice?
I believe that there will always be a choice.
There will be, okay.
Yes, well, that's what I'm understanding, is that they're always going to have the 3 choices because they each have their own special things about them. One has a computer chip in it, the other 2 don't. One you can cross the border by land or sea, the other ones you can't. But you can board a flight with 2 of them, but not 1. So it's very complex.
Now, the Real ID is specifically for those that do not have a driver's license?
No.
No?
No. Real ID would be just a driver's license that would have more credentials than a standard.
Okay, so we have the standard, we have the enhanced, and we have the Real ID.
Let's
No.
go the other way. The enhanced is like the top of the line.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
Standard, then it's the real, and then it's the enhanced.
And
Okay.
enhanced is the one that you can travel into Canada by road and, yep.
By land or sea, yes. Yes, Commissioner, you're exactly
With the
right.
Real ID, you can't?
With the real ID, you cannot cross the border by land or sea.
All right. Thanks for confusing me more.
So, Mr. Chair,
It's very confusing.
Commissioner Potter?
I suggest that Becky should run for state office down there to help, because your expertise and knowledge would help straighten them out of this mess here. Maybe give them real-world wisdom and knowledge of what they did and help them understand they need to help fix what they created.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Potter, but to be honest with you, I have enough headache with Wright County alone.
Anybody else have any questions or?
So a person without a driver's license with just a Minnesota identification card, they would still need to go in and, you know, if they're going to travel, have their passports and that kind of thing, because they aren't qualified for this program, correct?
If you just have an ID card, the ID cards you can get in the same categories as you can the driver's licenses, but
Okay.
just have an ID. The majority of the people that will have an ID will just specifically have a standard license, maybe because they're not citizens or they can't prove residency, that type of thing. But the majority of our constituents are just choosing to stay with the standard and use a passport and then make a decision by October 1st of 2020.
They shouldn't wait till the last minute, though.
Please no.
But they don't have to rush out either.
Exactly.
Now, do we know how long it's taken for people to get their driver's license yet?
This is great. Commissioner, they're saying between 2 and 12 weeks.
Oh, that's an unusual window.
Yeah. Could be quick, could be long.
Commissioner Potter?
And Mr. Chair, the news article last night, or the news report last night also cited people from out of state coming to get their license changed to the address here have been experiencing a much longer wait than those that are in state doing license renewals or change of address. But out of state, there seems to be some disconnect for some reason. They didn't really delve into it, but the people that were that moved here from out of state said that they've been waiting up to a year to get their license, which is a little strange, but so there's more than just one little problem here.
Oh, gee, thanks. And I thought there was just one.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Yeah.
Actually, I would just, maybe I could just kind of clarify that first sentence in the last paragraph. Thanks, Becky, for all your
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
I would to what I probably said is that I've heard of several complaints. So I've heard of, you know, I've heard of them from, well, like Commissioner Burrell and, you know, I mean, I've heard, yeah. So I've
Is that good,
Yeah.
Susan? Okay, we got that.
heard of, yeah. So it's just, It's just a little clarification, but
All right, so can I have a motion?
I will make a motion to accept the minutes and the recommendations.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hewsome, second by Commissioner Burrell. Is there any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Well, now I hope you can find somebody that fits
Yes.
right in down there and can hit the ground running.
For sure. Yeah.
You can always get Bob maybe to help temporarily.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Item B, schedule county board training for Office 365 OneDrive. Commissioner Burrell, this is addressed specifically for you.
You know, I didn't like that, you didn't say it, but they used the word mandatory. How about just scheduled training?
Did you have any suggestions at all?
Yeah, I did have a couple dates and times, either on November 26th, either 10 o'clock or 1 p.m., or the 27th of November at 1. It's kind of a housekeeping item, I apologize, but I figured this would be the easiest way to get everybody's schedules.
27th, or what was the other one?
26th, either 10 a.m. or 1 p.m., or the 27th at 1.
Well, we have a meeting on the 27th.
And I have crime lab at 2 p.m.
At
on the
2, so
27th, so
The 26th.
I would go for
26th.
the 26th in the morning at 9.
Yeah,
Does that work for everybody?
9 a.m.,
10?
10?
10?
Would you do 10 o'clock? 10
10,
o'clock
yep.
would work better for us.
Yep, 10 is fine.
Okay.
November 26th.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to schedule a board training for Office 365 as a committee of the whole for November 26th, which is a Monday at 10 o'clock.
Second.
And what room is that going to be in, Lee?
Training room.
Training room by the
Assuming
lake.
we-
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
training
where
room,
we
yeah.
were before. Okay, perfect.
By that.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Hewsome, and who knows, I might not even have to do it. Any other questions? You said 10 o'clock, right?
Correct.
Anybody have any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Let's see, next item. Meeting with legislators. What have we heard?
We've heard back from the majority of our legislators. It appears availability is the best, either on Thursday the 6th or Friday the 7th. We'll haven't heard back from everyone, but most of them would be available either one of those 2 days.
Now, we're going to be here on the 6th for truth and taxation. Should we
Taxation
do
at
that on that day, or?
I've got a few other committee,
Yeah.
I got a few other meetings in the afternoon that day, but I mean, I could skip my emergency management
Well,
one.
we can do it in the morning, I think. What did we do last time?
But the 7th, I think we have a little bit better turnout, don't we, on the 7th than we do it on the 6th?
Do we?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I
It's a
think-
Friday.
I mean, it's
It's a
by one
Friday, so
more,
that'll be closer for them to get from wherever they're at the home from here on Friday.
All right, that's fine.
Friday work out better because Thursday I have a safe schools, STMA safe schools in the morning, and since I had to miss the last one, I like to keep up on those because to me those are important to see what's going on out there.
What time are we thinking?
We'd left it pretty much wide open, talking generalities a day, so I think it'd just be good to what works best for the board.
Yeah, but, I mean, 10 o'clock is, probably a good time if
Yeah.
our legislators are coming from a little ways away, but gives them the morning to,
So, 10?
10
sounds
o'clock?
good.
10 on the
So we're doing, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to set I don't know, is a committee of the whole, December 7th at 10 a.m. for legislative issues.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Batch, second by Commissioner Potter. Can I put in an amendment that Commissioner Burrell will make breakfast for everybody?
ooh,
Tell me the time and date again.
He'll make soybean
you've got
pie.
it till 10 o'clock when the meeting starts.
He's got the soybeans in, so it should be all good.
December 7th.
I'll do like the millennials, you know, no, that's like in the.
That won't work for you?
That's not gonna work for me.
All right, any other comments, suggestions?
What is the date?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
So,
Motion carries unanimous.
October 7th at 10 a.m. Another meeting to schedule.
Item D, Committee of the Whole for proposed new government center building.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. At our last meeting, we discussed a couple different dates, or we had looked at the November 8th date at 10 in the morning, which is still good with BKV. There's conflict for one of you. BKV would also be available on the 14th or the 15th if you wanted to explore that. Otherwise, we could hold that November 8th date.
Well, the 14th, we have the Ditch 33 meeting that we already scheduled.
It's committee day and ditch.
It's committee day.
14th also?
And you said the 15th?
15th would also be.
15th is good for me.
Okay. And Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Commissioner Potter?
The 8th is out, I have the annual meeting for the Transportation Alliance, and that starts at 8 in the morning in St. Paul. But if that doesn't match, I'm willing to forgo that if that doesn't meet the schedule, but Commissioner Vetch said that the 15th works, and that works for me also.
Anybody else have any conflicts with the 15th?
No, it
15th
works
is
for me.
okay.
What time of day, Lee?
Probably 10 o'clock or later.
Want to go 10? 10:30? 10? What are we doing?
10, 10's fine.
10's good.
Mr. Chair, with that, I'll make a motion to schedule a committee of the whole for the potential proposed new government center. I'll make sure that word potential, because nothing's been decided, to meet with BKV on Thursday, November 15th at 10 a.m.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Houston. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Schedule public hearing for changes to the fees for service schedule. Coordinator Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It reached out to departments as part of the annual process to try and gather any fee schedule changes that we need to incorporate. By statute, we do have to hold a public hearing for those. We included a draft of those items within your packet there. There were a few more this year than we have had in past years. We'll be sure to review this list and make sure if there's any changes or clarifications we need to make that we correct those. But we will need to set a public hearing. I would propose we do that at a board meeting. In order to allow for enough time for the posting, I would say we do it no sooner than November 20th's meeting.
We'll do it November 20th. You want to do it the 27th? Anybody?
It don't matter.
We've got the committee of the whole at 10:30, so on the 27th. So maybe the 20th at 9:30, would that,
Well,
during the county board meeting?
yeah.
Yes.
We'll do it on the 27th, too.
You could, it just might take, just might extend.
Hasn't in the past.
No, it hasn't.
Typically,
But we
this
don't
has
want to
been
make, we don't want to make
non-controversial.
that 27th meeting any longer than we have to.
Right.
Because we
In
have the
case.
highway thing, or the committee of the whole for elected officials at 10:30 too.
Well, just, I mean, it's more of a formality. I don't foresee it. Like you said, historically, it hasn't been a.
Okay, so
Either way.
what do we
Mr. Chair,
want?
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing for the changes in the fees for services schedule for Tuesday, November 20th, during the board meeting at 9:30.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Houston. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Advisory Committee, Advisory Board update. Coordinator Kelly.
A lot of things going on. One thing to make the board aware of is there is a discussion going on that was initiated by the Minnesota Judicial Branch with the county probation officer counties trying to put together some clarification of the relationship between that, as there's been some ambiguity. I know Mike McMillan's been serving on that committee along with a couple of my counterparts from other counties. They've been a couple different drafts flying back and forth. There's been some differences in interpretation throughout the state of whose employees the county probations are, what rights and duties of the probation directors that are out there. So they've been working kind of as a group to come up with something. So at this point, I don't know that there's anything to report that would impact the county, but there's the potentials out there. So I wanted to raise it. So open enrollment is now open for county employees. We'll have our benefits fair on the 8th. So make sure as commissioners you fill out your materials, please. I think that's all I have for today.
Commissioner Potter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yesterday was in union negotiations with the library employees, the two different units of ASME. We came up with a tentative proposal, which will be voted on in the next couple of weeks. And as soon as they vote on it, then we'll come forward with everything that's going on there. It was pretty productive, and I was happy that they actually recognized some of the things we did in changing some of the quartiles to match future compression of the wages. We're trying to make that so people can actually get through different, what used to be steps at some of those. So it was kind of nice for them to understand that. So it was good. Yesterday afternoon, most of us, looking at you, Charlie, attended a meeting for Committee of the Whole in Albertville in reference to a noise wall, which is required anytime you go after federal money when there's a trail. So it was a very eye-opening, enlightening, and a WTF moment.
Confusing.
WTF moment, because it's like, really why? I mean, although the idea behind the noise wall is right, sometimes it gets caught up in the minutia of nonsense. There's no business that I know of that was going to want a noise wall in front of their building. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. So it's more to come on that, but it's required for the federal things. So it was definitely eye-opening on what some of the requirements. So be careful what you wish for, because you may get it.
Yeah, I agree. I liked hearing about, all the different heights and, the decibel sounds, and it was
interesting.
It was interesting.
And the joke was that we could apply, if we've had federal money, we could apply for a noise wall between Commissioner Hewson and Commissioner Burrell there. And the other thing that was noted is the MnDOT starts out at a 20-foot wall, because that's the height. So it's always, when you see them, you wonder why they're so high. Well, they just automatically get to there. And most of theirs are on freeways, which have a little different impact. And that's why the one in Monticello, right next to the apartments, went up, because every unit gets a vote on that one, and besides the owners. So that's, and in some cases it makes sense, other cases it kind of ridiculous. The other item I wanted to talk about is our former extension ag gentleman, Rod Greeter, was with us and just recently left. He was a 3/4 time person. He was a fantastic asset for Wright County, and everybody that interacted with him on the agricultural was just thoroughly impressed. There was an article in the paper this last Sunday, Star Tribune, about him, and his other profession is he's an inventor, and he has a few patents. And one of this article it was a visual enhancement. It's hard to describe what it is, but he got a patent for it, and it's helping people, especially young people, being able to focus and read, which is just impressive as all get up, and he has more than one patent. So he's quite the entrepreneur, and I not only was impressed with him when he was here, but I'm even more impressed with that gentleman when I read that article. It's like he wasn't just doing that, he was doing more things to help humanity. It's one of those, you're just glad you got to actually get to know a person like that. Congratulations, Rod, and thank you for serving and helping Wright County. Go ahead.
So last week on Tuesday, myself and Commissioner Potter met with the WCAG group, got a little bit of an update on the rides for Wright County, finishing out the third quarter with around over 30,000 rides. We'll finish out the year with about 150,000-ish rides. I'll get a report at the end of the year on what the total rides for Wright County is, but we're still trending upward as our rides, as rides become more, or buses become more available, our ridership is increasing. We discussed the dissolution of the WCAT group at the end of the year. We'll be having one more meeting at December to do that, and at which point we'll transition into that advisory committee going forward, which actually helps Trailblazers need now to actually have an advisory committee, so local advisory committees, so that actually kind of works in conjunction with that.
With the board.
Yep, with the board making that move. The other piece then, last week on Thursday, myself and Commissioner Potter again attended the Highway 25 Coalition. After a couple hours of debate, we basically are still where we were at the beginning of the 2 hours of debate. Except for this time, I think we're a little bit closer to maybe closing out the study in January. We're adding a conjunction document to the study that basically is going to outline some of the concerns from all the different cities that basically will hopefully make both sides of the river feel at ease with closing out the study.
Yeah, and Chair, Commissioner, to piggyback off what Commissioner Vetch had said with that meeting, we've been going at this for a little while. We've in the game of chess, it's called a stalemate. We're kind of there. The one option, which and there's like say 3 sides to every story, there's the truth and whatever. But truth be told, on the Wright County side of the river, is that option E, which is the heavily debatable conflict, would have a serious negative impact upon the city of Monticello, which is why it came up as a concern, because all their infrastructure, everything has been tilted to the west and southwest there, not to the east, because there's wetland issues and everything else going along. And it's in my opinion, on this side of the river, it'd be unfair to make Monticello, who has planned the land use plan and everything else, and the infrastructure, the sewer plant, and everything else, all going one way, only to have them change and redo pipes and go back the other way when it isn't planned to go that far out. It really wouldn't enhance anything there. It wouldn't alleviate, in my opinion, wouldn't alleviate a lot of the problem on 25 that they're hoping for. But it also wouldn't create any economic opportunity for Wright County at that particular location. And being that Monticello is one of the big economic drivers of this county, I think it's imperative for us to remember that and try to make sure that we're working with our fellow cities, even though that's not my district, it's still in our county.
Oh, yeah.
And we need to work with them, and those across the river can disagree with that until the cows come home, and that's fine, but we are trusted to take care of Wright County and what's the best interest there. And I just want to make sure that that's out in public, that's so no matter what you hear, there's 3 sides to every story, but this is where we're coming from on it.
Well, and the other side of it was too, is we've already spent a decent amount of money on Ditch 33, and this option E is right through the heart of Ditch 33, and it's hard for us to continue the process of needing to repair this, which it needs repair, in knowing the fact that we could complete this ditch repair in 3 years, and then 8 years from then, they could be tearing it all up to, and I don't know how I could tell the benefited landowners that, yeah, there's just no way.
No, you
Well, not
can't
only
do
that,
that.
but it'd be going through a lot of residential area,
Well,
yeah.
that is a,
Right,
yep.
which would be a disadvantage to people
Yeah.
too.
right.
And the debate comes down to is, the debate is they say that, go into the NEPA process and that'll be addressed at the NEPA process. But if you know that, why, because the NEPA process is very expensive, our argument is if you know you don't want it there and you know that the residents don't want it there, do you want to spend the money to find that out anyways?
No. No.
Sure, if you want to take the chance.
Well-
Anything else?
No.
Last week, we discussed, we had reopener for negotiations for the unions for the health plan. It went pretty well, I think. So we'll see how that goes. We have some additional ones on Thursday, November 1st. Friday, we have a Bertram Chain of Lakes meeting, and we should have some information regarding, no, it's not Brad, whatever street it is that fronts it.
Briarwood.
Briarwood?
Yeah.
Briarwood.
Briarwood.
From the study that was done.
Oh, good.
We had gotten a preliminary one, which was extremely lacking in information. So they're hoping to have a better one this Friday, so that we'll have some ideas on what is going to be needed out that for the city of Monticello and Wright County.
I shouldn't laugh, but it was just kind of funny. The information that they gave us in the first one was pretty, I didn't even.
Lacking, yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah.
Lacking was I was very disappointed for what we paid for it and what we got.
Well, that's exactly, I was like,
Yeah, and, you know, they were late getting it to us in the first place, and then they provided us with
I looked at it as
minutia information
Yeah.
that wasn't worth anything.
no, I couldn't use it to formulate an agreement between us and the township on maintenance on that road based on that information. It didn't give us anything.
No,
so.
no. Oh, and tomorrow is a very important day.
My friend's birthday?
I'm thinking
No, all the kids will be out
it's
trick-or-treating.
Halloween. I should know. I've got
So,
a handful of them.
what I do have a suggestion. If you don't give any trick-or-treaters and you have a lot of candy left over, I would suggest we bring it here and we give it to Lee to take home to his kids.
Oh, I'm all for that. I'll bring my bowl in for Lee's kids.
You guys are so helpful.
How's your dental plan?
Commissioner Houston?
I have nothing to add on the advisory committee. I've been really busy, but, yeah.
Ditto that.
Crops all in?
Yeah,
Everything's dry?
yep. Done.
All done?
Nice.
Out of my neighbor's way too, so he can use them. That's what I was worried about yesterday. I had my auger set up, he couldn't get in to get to the bin, and I didn't want to be holding them up any longer than
So how did crops look?
Actually, it was really good. There were places where if you were in a field that did not drain well, that held any moisture, the corn ears were this far off the ground, it was nothing. But where it was at an angle or whatever, it was very good.
Very good yields? Yeah. Good, good. Now all we need to do is for the price to get up.
Yeah, that might not happen soon, but whatever. So,
You got lots of storage, right?
yeah.
All right. Anybody have anything else?
Lots of money.
We have a committee of the whole regarding ditches at 10:30. And hearing nothing else before the board, we are adjourned at 9:53.
All right.